Welcome back, guys. We're gonna play Stanley Parable again, but this time we're gonna play we're gonna do the part 2 on the series, and I'm gonna try and do the failed quest I did at the end of the last video, but I'm gonna actually do it well.
Direct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded.
I'm gonna do the blue door. I've heard there's a red, blue, and a door, and a red door, and a blue door. I'm gonna go through the red door. I think you're supposed to go through the red door.
Following directions, it's incredible he wasn't.
Okay, through the conveyor belts.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps
hopefully I don't die. I'm just saying that. Hopefully I don't, because I don't want to die again. If I do die, I'm gonna be so mad.
Nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Really?
Okay, now through this door.
Zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really
danger everywhere.
To show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it.
Nice painting, I guess.
Give me a chance.
Do not stand at the side of this fence. Lol. Lol. No buckets past this point. I want to kick a bucket there.
Now listen
past
carefully,
the door.
this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Yes, I did.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me.
I'll do the blue door in another video, because that's the one, like a real big story.
The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped.
No, afterwards.
And I think I have a solution. Here.
Do I just keep on running? You know what, fine, I'll go through here, the intended path. Huh?
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right... No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we?
What's here? This is boring. Can you look at that closer? What's that supposed to be? Was there a drawing there? There's some boxes.
Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
If I die, the game will reset. Another really good painting. They didn't just put a big plank of wood in a frame. They definitely did not.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
No.
No! Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Okay. Why can't I see my legs when I walk?
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
This is hypnotizing, isn't it? I command you to like this video and subscribe to the amazing chair. You are free. as long as you do that. Why are all of them like gathering up in the middle? Is there gonna be some kind of laser beam that kills me? What's going on? I'll go through the other room.
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
What if I kill myself again?
No, no, what are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
I want chocolate. I'm here for chocolate. Forget the chocolate. I'm here for bagels. Bagels. I'm here for bagels. That's what.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me?
I'll go back just to go back here. I'm only doing this to progress through the storyline because I'm filming this for an audience. Well,
Perhaps
mainly
you can.
anatomy.
Perhaps you finally
But you know
see
what I mean.
I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
I'm bored. I'm gonna go back. And I am gonna go here, through here, through this creepy
perhaps
hallway.
not.
I'm gonna keep jumping.
My
I wish there was
God,
a way you could
is
sprint
this
in
really
this
how
game.
much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Yup. Bye-bye.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks
Yeah,
like
'cause
you
I'm
wanted another
Stanley.
choice after all.
And you're
Well,
just
this
a
one is
boring old
yours.
narrator.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I'll
Stanley
do it
decided to go to the
again.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Going in like an elevator. Oh, there's a door there. Where am I going? What kind of place is this?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Yeah, I have Ultra
Okay,
Deluxe.
so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here?
I'm gonna get a banana. Sorry,
Should we
I'm
be
good.
moving somewhere or... oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Sorry. Sorry.
All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Do I just jump?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Why am I going in another
Another
elevator?
elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
What? It's a completely different game.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Where am I going? Maybe I should go inside. Yeah.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? But it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste. And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created. Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was.
I
It
have a
was
friend
literally
called Stanley.
every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content. Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Oh my God. I actually like this game.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse.
Idle stuff.
You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Okay.
You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting long. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here.
There's a light coming there.
To speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think? Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever...
Where am I supposed to go? Is that supposed...
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences. The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
What's happening? Life after death, of course. This game has good morals to it. Where do the plants die? All those creepy noises. What is is this? Oh. Skip button. Why won't it let me press a skip button? Where am I supposed to go? This game started off in an office, and now I am in the middle of a post-apocalyptic land. Or desert, whatever you want to call it. I want to check the trophies for a second. Why am I back in the office?
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
New content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Wait a minute. I remember the same thing. The end is never 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 the end.
I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Stanley Parable 2.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Sorry, stomach cuts.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Stanley Parable 2.
Go on, try out some of the new features. For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that one? Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim. Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim,
Sorry.
developing a
The
crippling
egg thing for a
substance
second.
addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Jim.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Where do I go? This door. No, here, no, there. I'm Jim. Who am I? I am Jim. Who am I? I am Jim. Who am I? I am Jim. Who am I?
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to... An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
I got a trophy.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
I'm gonna load up my keyboard and I wanna see if I can do it faster on keyboard. I'm gonna load up my keyboard and mouse. It doesn't work. I can move forwards and backwards, but it won't let me. I can move. Just look. Okay. That won't work. What do I have to do? Settings. Oh my god, that's so annoying, Lisa. Turn it down a little.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
I need to get that free trophy. What are these lights doing here? I don't know what to do. I need to find out.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
It says no screenshots, please.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
I'm debombing
Happy
you.
12th birthday, step-niece it is.
No, I didn't.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Reassurance bucket. What's that?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Well, I've got a bucket.
Does
I
anyone
think
give
I
out
have a
awards
feeling.
for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
I'll just get the trophy real quick. Okay. Well, I'll go for the exit. I saw an exit. I wanna go through it.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley... Oh, goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the collectibles exhibit. You see, there is a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the collectibles. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the collectibles, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now. Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life. God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Literally 1 more minute, Mum.
Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our mistakes.
Okay, that's it for this video. Good night.